Give me a minute, too. I'll be right back.
Oh, you sons of guns. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's awesome, spectacular extravaganza. That's right, it's the Game Hump Wednesday nights. Welcome to the show, everyone. We've got a panel this week that is legendary. We have a group of guys that are willing to talk with me about random things in the gaming industry. And two of them have left their chairs, but don't worry about those two sons of bitches. We're going to go with the guys that are actually here. Dan Van Dam returns once again to the show. Hi, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, sir?
I'm alive. I'm breathing. I'm upright. You know, that's better than some, so I can't complain. What are you doing lately? What's up with you? What's been going on? What games are you playing?
I've been playing the Secret World currently through a live stream, and ironically, I tried to play this, which was a bad idea on the Sega Genesis.
Nice.
Awesome cover. Then you pop it in, you cry some. It's just terrible. You have to play it in God mode somehow to even enjoy it, which is impossible. Ugh.
Yeah. So, what was that game you were mentioning about what you're streaming? What was that called?
The Secret World. It's basically lore about every single thing, like, for example, Val, Dracula, stuff like Cthulhu or H.P. Lovecraft, stuff like that. Literally all that kind of stuff is thrown into this game in an adventure style, but then it's also like an MMORPG. The combat sucks, but the rest of it's awesome.
Interesting. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
One thing I got to mention, too, is you held up Turrican for the Sega Genesis. I would actually say that the TurboGrafx version is worse even than the Genesis version, as far as being unbalanced and very overly difficult and not very fun. Which you won't hear very often. Oh, the Amiga version's great, yeah.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. I'm jealous of everyone who wanted an Amiga back in the day.
Right,
I will say...
Oh, you son of a bitch. You're going to keep talking.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. Gotcha.
Moving from Dan, we've got Nullity. First-time caller, long-time listener. He is on the show. And his appearance tonight is brought to you by duofile.com.
You're doing my spamming for me. That makes me very happy. It saves me a lot of effort, Josh. Thanks for having me here, though. It's been something I've been looking forward to.
No, it's really exciting to have you on the show. I was really happy that you were actually interested in being a part of the show. I was just like, oh my god, this is going to be a lot of fun. So, do you have some alcoholic drinks with you tonight?
Oh, well, I certainly do.
I just happen to be. I'm drinking some Neapolitan milk stout. This is actually a crazy dessert beer. It's amazing. It's like ice cream.
Nice. Myself, tonight I am sipping upon the very essence and soul of the TurboGrafx and PC Engine community. I've been collecting this for several years, ever since I joined up at the PCFX forums. Some people have suspected this, but now it's confirmed. I've got to tell you, this is the greatest stuff. There's nothing quite like it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, look at that. That's the community.
I can see my soul already.
Yes. Oh, it tastes so good. Brought to you by Duophile.
That is awesome. So, are there any games that you're recently playing lately that you've been tackling and trying to play through?
Well, I've been looking forward to playing some Silent Debuggers on hard mode. It's hard. It's pretty hard.
It is.
I'm not getting my ass handed to me by the bugs, I guess you would call them, those aliens. I've been playing a bit of Image Fight and Cotton, the PC Engine version, because, you know, the North American release is a little bit too rich for my blood.
I agree. Yeah, between Image Fight and Silent Debuggers, you are tackling some pretty difficult games.
Well, you know, the challenge makes it worth it.
Totally. What the hell sound is coming from Al Anonymous?
That sounds like a bong. Like, what the hell's going on?
That's the dry eyes queefing.
That's the PC Engine community's soul. I'm sorry. Let me move that away from the mic.
I was just gonna say, as I meant, this is a party. Hey, it's like, yeah, I don't even do that stuff, but I'm already excited.
Owl, how are you doing?
Good, how are you? And everybody else? Oh, the Google Hangout Live might not be working, somebody says, and so you can post my link if you wanted people to watch live.
Sure. Sounds good. While I'm posting links, why don't you tell us a little bit about what games you're playing recently?
What am I playing? I'm still kind of Game Boy in it. I just got my friend's original DMG all like modded out with a backlit screen.
Cool.
And I picked up Turok 2, which was a game that was recommended to me that I really enjoy. It's not like normal N64 Turok. It's like a side scroller. It's kind of very like what's that movie, the Obey movie that everybody freaking
Gunhead?
No. It's the one where they have the secret glasses and you can see them.
They Live?
Yeah, it's like They Live but with lizard people. And then yeah, I picked up, I don't know, I've had a bunch of pickups. I got a complete DJ Boy.
Cool.
Nice.
I found Saturday Night Slam Masters for $5.
Nice.
And this is a game it gets dogged on a lot, but I've been looking for one for about a year now. It's a Star Soldier for the N64.
Yeah, baby.
That's actually a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the few good N64 games.
Everybody says that. It's not as bad as you think. It's pretty bad, but it's not as bad. I mean, I have never streamed N64, but I swear I play it.
Yeah, I still have yet to do an N64 video on my YouTube channels. Either of my YouTube channels.
And then I got some booties. I got an English Splatterhouse translation, Splatterhouse Home Pocket Graffiti, and then a Yumi Penguin Manorari, or however the heck you say it, English version.
Kentaru.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Do you mind if I ask where you got the NES repros?
I got them from AliExpress for like, I think they're like $11 or something like that.
Oh
Shipped.
my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very
yeah,
cool.
and they're not just like repos of like games that are available. They're English translated and a like unique color version. So I'm not gonna sell them on ePay.
On ePay, on the Evil Bay.
Yeah.
Sarumaru-san.
Yes, sir.
How are you, good sir?
I'm good.
What's going on in Henshin Agogo?
Henshin Agogo. Henshin Engine. I'm actually finishing up the initial prologue chapter now. So once I'm done with that, it's gonna go to Sun Team Paul, and then it's gonna be on the web. Yay!
Woo!
As opposed to just Instagram. Because right now it's just Instagram, and people are like, Instagram sucks. So.
What?
I like Instagram. I think Instagram's just fine.
Yeah, a lot of people can't be bothered with it, apparently.
Yeah, that's true. I guess when it's like 95% like teenage girls, I mean,
That's why I'm there.
I guess that's right.
I mean, video games.
Yeah, video games, right? Totally.
Video games.
So, before we jump into all our topics tonight, I actually did want to mention something too, and it was thank you guys for listening tonight. We got a few viewers going on right now. The link that I just posted on our Gamehuggers Facebook channel should be working. We got a couple viewers, and we've also got a lot of news on the YouTube subscriber front, because recently, and I run 2 YouTube channels. I do one as a personal account, and I like to throw a lot of pro wrestling junk and stuff like that on there, and then one that's strictly focused on gaming, and that's the Gamehuggers YouTube channel. And my my personal YouTube channel just hit its 500th subscriber, and I wanted to say thank you so much for that. That was really cool, and an almost as big announcement for the Gamehuggers YouTube channel is that we hit 75 subscribers. So thank you everybody for being a part of it, and thank you for checking us out and making it feel like what we're doing is interesting. So I think that's really awesome. Thank you. All right, so I've got a plethora of topics once again. This time what we're going to do is go through them and try to come up with some arguments on why it's awesome, and also why it sucks, or why the idea sucks, or why this person sucks, whatever the topic is. If it's awesome, or if it sucks, or if you have an opinion of both sides, if it's something that's pros and cons for each one. So are you guys ready?
Totes.
Let's do it.
No, I see you're sipping on the souls of the PTO Bay.
They
All right.
energize me.
All right, so I'm going to start with our newest guest, and that's Null. We're going to start with the first topic, and that is importing games. Why? What would you like to start with? Is it suck, or is it awesome?
Well, of course it's awesome. I mean, there's not much of an argument to be made against it. A lot of the best games, at least for my platform of choice, the PC Engine or TurboGrafx 16, they do come from Japan. I don't do a lot of direct importing myself, but I'm lucky to know a lot of people that do. So, yeah, that's where the best deals are. You got to import unless you want to pay that premium for a resold item on eBay.
That's true. I could tell you one way that I would say it sucks, and that is in the way that these game consoles shouldn't even be region locked in any way. They should be region free. They should be open to buy games from whatever part of the world that you want to buy games from. And to have to region mod a Turbo Duo or a TurboGrafx to be able to play PC Engine games, or to buy a big purple diving board or whatever the board that converts, the converter board, was it Casado?
Casado, yeah.
Casado was one of them, and then the green diving board. I had the green diving board one. It's a pain in the ass, and it's not really fair to have to go through all that effort to get, the other 90% of the library that we completely missed out in the U.S. I feel that same way with the Saturn. I feel that same way with like NES and Famicom. It sucks that the companies didn't have more like looking into the future and just saying like, well, why don't we just make it the same and save us money so that we don't have to worry about that, just translating games or whatever. That kind of sucks.
That does kind of predate the whole global community brought on by the internet. And back then, there was a lot more, for lack of a better term, xenophobia. Japanese had their preferences. It had to be different than the Western market. I think a lot of that played into regional lockouts in the retro scene, at least. Now, present day, there's not much reason for it. I can't claim to understand that one bit.
Yeah, imagine a world where NES games or Turbo games or Genesis games had a menu that pop up at the beginning and ask you what language you wanted the game in, and then you just select it and go. And every game was all the same. The Japanese got that same version. South America got that version. Everything. European, English, everything. That would have been a dream world, honestly. And we wouldn't have to worry about, importing games that we never got. All the Image Fight 2s and everything else that we completely missed out on in the U.S. What are you trying to show me, Dan? What is that?
The Fantastic Adventures of Dizzy, the region switch in the back of this. You just made me think about that just now. I was like, oh yeah, that one company there.
Is that Comerica?
Yeah.
I love the Comerica games. They're awesome.
You just told me to think of that. Side note.
It's the weirdest sound.
I'm sorry, but I want some food now after I hear that.
I'm kind of getting the munchies too. What's up with that?
Yeah.
All right. I feel like I'm alone here in saying that importing sucks, but I do understand there's a gazillion positives to importing games. I think importing is absolutely awesome. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. Once I, have a library that's just immersive and very full of a lot of fun games, I like to move on to another thing. So like right now, recently, I've been picking up a lot of like between the Famicom, the original Famicom, and the PCFX. Those are two that I'm trying to like get some games for. A lot of these conventions that I go to and things like that, to kind of share those kind of experiences with people. Games that they never saw or never even knew existed. It's always fun to like share those kind of things with people. But man,
Yeah.
it'd be easier if they were all in a language that I could understand, though.
Yeah, in general, I like importing a lot. Negatively, I would definitely agree that the language barrier is the only thing I dislike about it. I mean, other than that, if it's like an action game, I don't really need to, understand too much. I just go, okay, I'm gonna go kill that enemy over there. That's all I need to know.
Right.
Well,
But as far as like RPGs, I want to definitely know the story because some of them can be extremely good. I'll never know because I can't read a damn thing that's going on.
Well, I can mention something I don't like is having to use a proxy if you go from Japan, unless you're buying the games directly from like Play Asia or somebody that will deal with a U.S. client. We get a lot of stuff for the arcade community from Yahoo Japan, and you have to use a proxy, and then you have to send the money over there. And basically, if you don't win the auction, the money stays in that account. So there's a lot of if you're dealing with more expensive things or stores that don't necessarily deal with the U.S., it's man, you're creeping me out with the face.
I'm seeing myself in the screen. That's why I'm like making.
Yeah, that's a thing I don't like. Now, and to mention and importing good news is Amazon Japan and Amazon UK opened up their doors to U.S. orders. So you can pre-order and order stuff directly, and it'll ship right to you. I'm gonna have to minimize you if you're gonna keep on doing that. Move the I don't want to see up your fucking nostrils, dude. Move your camera back. Jesus, give us a little breathing room.
Personal.
Trying to give myself some breathing room.
Yeah, you're like, I'm a person that like doesn't want like people talking to me that close in person, and like online I've never felt that that my bubble being violated.
Sure. They can be violated much later, sweetie.
I'm good. I already masturbated today.
You're gonna do it soon again.
Just once a day? What?
Amateurs.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, Wednesday.
I heard it's hump day, but Jesus, man, you're supposed to do a lot more than that. It's like here in 420, he's like light up somewhere. God.
All right. How about reproductions? Dan Van Dam, what are your thoughts on reproductions?
I think they're very awesome. At the same time, the negative side of it is more modern games. Obviously, we're in a day and age where it's a lot easier to access. No.
I'll just
it's a lot easier to access.
Fixed.
I broke his spirits. Anyway, all right, train of thought. Basically, the day and age we're in now, it's easier to access shit, right? Much easier. Back then wasn't so easy. So when I look at newer games being reproduced, it annoys the hell out of me. It pisses me off. When I look at older games, it's fine. It's kosher. So that's the thing I think of it as a whole, is reproductions. I think with older games that were a lot harder to get back in the day, it's an awesome, fantastic thing. Newer stuff, I roll my eyes and go, God damn it, why the hell is this happening? But, that's my take on it.
How do you quantify newer stuff? I mean, how new are we talking here?
How old? Basically, I would say predate cartridges and very early compact disc, like very early. Like at least 1995, I would just say the cutoff date, at least in my mind. I mean, it could be a little bit later for some, like 1997, but that's, I'd say 95 is a random date.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was a whole lot of repro going on with, post 32-bit era stuff.
Yeah. It's usually been stuck with 8-bit and 16-bit gaming, which I don't have a problem with personally. I mean, most of the licenses for all those things have long since expired. So, and it gives people a good option as far as purchasing games that would normally be out of the reach due to price.
Well, here's the thing. I, Joe Game Collector dude, have been playing my games and collecting my games since they first came out. I have all my original Nintendo games since 85 all the way to 95. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've got the Jetsons and the Flintstones Dino Pack Wonder Fun, or what's the other really expensive one? The besides Bonk's Adventure? Anyway.
Little Samson.
Little Samson.
Okay, I got Little Samson, right? And I got my games back in the day. And matter of fact, just to be a dick, I went and found another copy of Little Samson complete, I don't know, in like 2008. And I paid $600 for it because I needed that game. And here, now all these buttfucks online are making their own boxes. They're making their own boxes, they're making their own instruction manuals, and they're making their own cartridges that look exactly the same for a fraction of the cost, and they're putting them on their shelves and sitting there taking pictures and putting them on Instagram and on Facebook saying, look, I got Little Samson, isn't this amazing? And here I am sitting with a $700 replica of the same damn thing. Mine is official. Mine's official, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean anything. And now the value of my game feels like it's diminished because of these dickwads making copies of my games. What the hell?
Yeah.
Why should I have to share what I had the brains to buy back in the day and then pay the money for? Like, if you want the game, if you want to actually legitimately have Little Samson on the NES, you got to pay the money. Are you laughing at me, Noel?
I'm actually just kind of marveling at the paradox of it all. You know, there's the whole anti-collectard sentiment, which I fully appreciate. It is good to have the authentic items. However, you know, there's a lot of the same anti-collectard crowd is okay with repros of classic games. Now, you know, I did just listen to your last podcast this afternoon. I have to agree with the whole point of, you know, if you're making a repro, differentiate it. You know, it can't look like the real thing. It cannot be passed off as the real thing. And I think that's a very important aspect of the whole repro scene. If you want something for your shelf, you know, you can't afford a used whatever Little Samson. That's cool. Not many people can. I sure hope it. Myself, I would use an EverDrive, but if someone wants a fancy printed cartridge, you know, more power to them. Just as long as it doesn't look like a real thing, so that you, with your authentic, you know, gaming artifact, a piece of history, that's not cheapened or lessened in any way. Now, that's, I think, what's important to me, at least.
Yeah, I think they need to be marked as reproductions or in a colorway that's not available.
Right.
I don't see any problem with people, you know, bringing like a game that, you know, and localizing it. Like this is one of the my favorite Nintendo games that was never released in the U.S. It's a Famicom Splatterhouse translation. Now, I couldn't sell this at the store for several reasons. This was never an NES game, and then all the AliExpress ones, most of them, they have a notch right here, which isn't on the original cartridges, and then this back doesn't say Nintendo, and then it has a different label. So I mean, if you're not GameStop, you should be able to tell that, you know, this isn't a real or original game. Now, the only bootleg I do have that is it's not differentiated. Well, I guess it is differentiated just a little bit. Is this Trip World game, and it says, instead of Game Boy, it says Game at the top. But that is that's the European, or it's the Japanese label. But you know, I only want this because I speedrun it. And I don't want to have to go. I have an EverDrive, and I don't want to have to go to the menu every time I reset it. And I freaking adore the game.
That's supposed to be a really, really great game.
It's amazing. It's like, but yeah, this is a $400 Game Boy game. I'm not ever gonna drop that much money on a game, you know.
Did you get that? Did you get that from AliExpress as well?
I did at the time. I think it was like $10, but I think it's gone down to like 5 or 6 shipped.
Wow,
yeah.
Dude, I am totally going to do that, so I don't have to spend $400 on a Game Boy game.
Yeah, just get the Game Boy EverDrive game. The Game Boy library is so huge, it's amazing. It's definitely worth checking out. It's like $79 every Game Boy Color game.
What the hell is that, Nell?
Magical chase boxes.
There was a spider, Josh. I had to kill it.
Why do you have 2 of them? Is my question.
Because he's a collectard.
Why the hell not? You know, there might be 2 spiders.
There might be 2 spiders.
I was just thinking back to Josh's video that he had posted at some point in the past, where he used one of these repro magical chase boxes to kill a spider. Some of the reactions to that were pretty funny.
Yeah.
One of the great things, I don't know how well the camera will show this, but it is clearly marked as reproduction.
Yeah.
Are those the Sparky ones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice, very cool. And I for all our game hugger audience and friends and folks around here, the term is actually collect-twat. All right, jumping into another hot topic: collectors. Just like John and his boxes of Magical Chase. What do you think of the collector community?
You know, I set up my wall of games in their honor. I respect the wall of games. I see. Well, Josh, you have a nice wall there.
I got a nice wall of Gex.
This is actually a different. I'm in a different room. This is my like craft room. I have I have some miniatures. You can see I paint miniatures every once in a while. Look at that. Yeah.
Oh,
how you doing?
It's hot.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, she's half cyborg, so it's pretty sweet actually. So yeah, this room is not the game room, but I brought a couple boxes just to set up so it looks sort of like one or whatever. But I'm torn on this because I definitely have some games in my library, not collection, but library, that I don't get around to playing as often as I wish I did. Those are the types of things that I'll bring to conventions to like show off to other people, but maybe games that I don't play as often as I should. Like I got Ikari Warriors 1, 2, and 3 on the NES, and after playing them for about 3 or 4 minutes, I'm good for a year or two. I don't need to play that again. I only have it because probably a little bit of my collector mentality going in there where it's like, well, I got the trilogy, I got to keep them, but why? You don't play the damn things. So it's weird. It's a love-hate thing. What I hate about collectors is guys that are into it like they were into baseball cards when they were kids, where they got all the NES games and they're like, oh shit, I just heard about the TurboGrafx last week. I gotta get one. What's the best games I gotta get? My checkbook is open.
Want to buy cheap Magical Chase?
Where do I buy it? My checkbook is open, guys. I will pay anything. I hate that.
Yeah, those guys suck.
Yep. People who want to buy it simply because they know it's popular, yet they don't really know anything about it. They're like, oh, I just heard that this game is a hot game. I want to buy it, even though I don't know fuck all about any of it.
Fuck all.
Yeah, those are the people who annoy me the worst. It's like, here we have a group of people who have been playing these games for many, many years, and then you have, some fucktwat who's been into it for like a year, and he buys like everything. You're like, oh yeah, I've got like all these super rare games. I don't know shit about them, but I have them, and I know they're rare, and I want them. And it's like, fuck you.
The fucking people that post pickup posts every other week, and it's like not even fucking Nintendo Commons. It's like, Panzer Dragoon Saga next to a fucking like Ninja Gaiden like rare Game Boy game. Like fuck those people. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't have the money to do that. I spend all my money to like do the streaming shit or to go out, but I just, some people, the collectors that are just there to collect, they treat the games like a magic card. Like, this game, I won't play it, but this has stats of being a good game. It's, and then they put it on their shelf and they don't play it. That's what bothers me.
Never touch it.
It's like a prison for video games.
Yep. It's sad.
It's one thing to do with NES games because, like, there's millions and millions of NES games, but our community in the TurboGrafx world is so small that when you see someone like, oh man, brand new or never had ever gotten one before and found one at a flea market with like 10 games, and one of those 10 games is like Shock Band, and they're like, is this any good? Oh, I always wanted a TurboGrafx, and it's like, why of all people
hey, Bart, is this any good?
I know which freaking person you're talking about, by the way, too.
I never had that kind of luck ever. Like, I've never found anything super rare in the wild.
The only time I ever did was when I was a kid, because the TurboGrafx in 93 and 94, when I first got into it, I picked up Shock Band from a games shop, and it was like $3.99.
Wow.
And a bunch of other games. I actually, the story of when I first got my Turbo was in the summer of 94, and it's a long story, but I won't get into it too much, but I wound up picking up a Turbo Duo and 12 games, and a few of those games were rarer, for $199, and the Duo was boxed.
Nice.
It was like the most amazing thing in the world. It was just the craziest thing. And that was actually my very first paycheck for my very first job I ever got when I went to the game store. And I had gone there with intentions of picking up an Atari Lynx. And then seeing a TurboGrafx there, it was like, holy shit, I want a TurboGrafx. And then as I was about to check out, a dude came in and traded in his Turbo Duo. Like, it was the weirdest fucking half an hour of my life, and I just couldn't believe it. It was my very first paycheck, and I used it all to buy a Duo and 12
Do you
games.
think?
It was
Do you think it was Destiny?
It had to have been. It was just the craziest thing. I mean, honestly.
God just wanted to like fuck you over to be a nerd for the rest of your life.
If he doesn't buy this Turbo Duo, he's going to go to medical school.
This is a test.
Yeah, there's
Dan,
such
what do you-
This motherfucker will make something of his life. Go!
Dan, what are your thoughts on collectors? Are you a collector?
I have no idea what a collector is, actually. I don't know what
Okay.
a collector is.
Couldn't
But,
see what we couldn't see that, by the way.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're looking at.
Did you have like a shelf of games?
Yeah, that was my shelf of Barbie games. I got all the best Barbies. No, basically, yeah. As far as collectors go, I like the people who are very optimistic, very straightforward about what they like about their collection. Like, they can tell you distinctly what they like about their games. While you have other people, like you were just mentioning before, so I don't have to play the fiddle twice here. With people who are like that, I don't have a complete problem with them, but I just kind of, when they say, "Hey Dan, what good games on the N64?" and I just kind of look at them blankly, like,
there are no good games.
Mischief Makers. That's it.
Mischief Makers.
Between that,
Mischief
Mischief
Makers is
Makers, Gomon, a couple
Sin and
others.
Punishment.
Sin and Punishment, you
Yeah.
named it.
Goemon's really good too.
Yeah, there's Super Mario 64 is actually pretty good. I like that one. Buggy, but good. But other than that, as far as game goes, or at least collection goes, I like people who are very minimalist. They know exactly what their collection, as I've said before, and they buy games because they know what they are. That's what I like, and that's what I think a collector should be. As far as people just collecting games because they love the system in general, and they're buying random games just to be, try them out randomly, I don't see the problem in that, honestly. I mean, if they're doing it like that, where they're actually going to sit down and play every single one of those they buy. But if they're just going to buy, like, a game because they heard it was so fucking rare that, Queen Latifah rubbed her clitoris against it or something, it's like, good lord, why?
I've played that game.
And it's...
It's actually a basketball game.
I bet you double dribble, too. But yeah, that's what I think is that collectors, as far as it goes, there's a lot of douchebags out there, a lot of fucktwats, a lot of collectwats, a lot of those kind of things.
Jeez.
A lot of vaginal pus collectors, and then there's a lot of general. Ugh, I just grossed myself out there just now, so I punished myself. Sin and Punishment, pardon the pun. So basically,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
lost
All
my
right.
train of thought, so I'm all set.
No, it's all good. All right, so recently I've been playing on the Xbox One a fighting game that was made by Rare and Microsoft Studios, and that is the new Killer Instinct game. I'm not 100% sure if you guys have had a lot of experiences with it, but the Killer Instinct games started about 20 years ago. That was one of the very first titles that was launched, or expected to be launched, on the Ultra 64. What are your guys' feelings on the Killer Instinct franchise, and now that it's back, what are your thoughts on that?
I've had some time with it on my friend's Xbox. I think it's pretty good. And I'm a fighting game kid. I grew up playing Killer Instinct 1 and 2. And I was, waiting and waiting for the Ultra 64 to come out. And when it actually did come out, it felt amazing to have like almost a perfect arcade port, other than flustering with the controls. He's still drinking the souls.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to the new game's really good. The new seasons are good that they're coming out with. I don't know if it's gonna keep on continuing on. There's like previews of season 3. But Killer Instinct as a franchise is really cool. You know, Rare, of course, Rare's behind it, and mostly everything they touch is really good. So it's really impressive for the N64 hardware.
Yeah, that's really true. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about the seasons concept of Killer Instinct, where you get like 6 characters and then you get a season 2 with like 7 more characters or whatever. But it's a lot. Even though it is in season format, and I'm doing air quotations, even though it is in season format, and you get characters released slowly, you're actually probably saving money. Instead of spending $59 for a fighting game, you're spending like $20 for a season, and right now you're getting another season of characters almost 2.5 years after the system had been, or after the game had been released as a launch title on the Xbox One, and there's still a pretty good community, and it's still being supported, rather than buying a game like Street Fighter 4 and then having Super Street Fighter 4 and then Arcade or Ultra Street Fighter 4 and things like that, where you're paying full price every time for just very minimal updates. You're getting like a whole new characters, a set of characters, and new storylines and new different concepts and styles of play. So I'm actually kind of sold on it. I actually like it a lot right now, and I think when Season 3 comes out later this month in a couple weeks, we're probably going to pick it up, because that'll put us up to like, I think 23 characters or something. Like, that's a lot of characters for a Killer Instinct game. And it's also, which I personally like, and that's actually going to be one of our topics coming up later, it's actually a T for teen game. So the fatalities are very like kind of classic and classy. Like they're not gory and ridiculous and completely out of this world, which there's a time and place for that. That's great. But I got kids and everything, so I can play Killer Instinct with my kids. And there's some blood and there's some violence into it for sure. But it's nothing like what Mortal Kombat X is like, or even some other fighting games. God, I remember like on the original Xbox, I think Tao Feng was just this over-the-top, ridiculous fighting game with such hardcore violence and gore to it. But Killer Instinct doesn't have any of that. It's strictly on learning combos and learning the basics and getting into a rhythm. But man, it's still all about combos. You can get ridiculous combos going, and just by rubbing your buttons or button mashing like crazy, it's still very similar to how it always used to be. And I don't know, I think it's a really cool game. And my best memories of being like a kid playing Killer Instinct was definitely on the Super NES. I was really shocked at how well Rare was able to port that to the Super Nintendo when it wasn't, even ever supposed to be on the Super NES. But man, seeing it on that was, it was obviously pulled back quite a bit from the arcade, but it still played really well. And that was super cool.
Did you play it on the X-Band at all?
I have never played an X-Band ever.
Yeah, it was the big game, was Killer Instinct for X-Band. It was probably like the first fighting game, right? That was online like that. I want to say.
Well, the X-Band was a jumper pack that you'd put on top of the Super NES or Genesis, and then you put a game on top of it, and then you could play those online, right? Like there was a phone cord that went off of that to the internet, so you could play online against other people on the network.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never played one. That sounds really awesome, though.
Josh, I have to ask you, what is a classy, kid-friendly fatality? The question's been eaten at me.
Fatalities.
The spinal removal, or...
Yeah, that's gotta be it. No, but think of like the original Killer Instinct on Super Nintendo, or like the Mortal Kombat 1 on the Super Nintendo. It was no pulling out hearts or anything like that. It was just like, I don't know.
There's skin down necks.
Yeah, think of like a rated R movie versus like a PG-13 movie. I think of just like that. Like if it's like someone going behind someone and like snapping their neck, it's like, okay, you'll see it and it'll happen, but it's like, I don't know. It's family friendly fun,
How was your day at school, young lady?
Yeah, the Mortal Kombat fatalities are too gruesome for me. And I used to play the original game. It's freaking disgusting.
Just over the top.
It's like serial killing.
And it gets really in depth and very very graphic. And I mean, it's cool for a party night or something like that when you got all adults around and you're just drinking and having fun or whatever, and you want to like, oh my god, watch this fucked up movie. It's like watching Saw, you know, or any of those like just the horror or torture porn type movies. But it's like, gosh, I mean, maybe I'm just old. I don't know, but it seems like it's a little over the top for me, and it's a little bit too gory for my taste. I think Killer Instinct is far more classy. They class up the joint with their fatalities versus Mortal Kombat. I think it's really cool, and they also have like they have like super spooky characters, and their characters I think are really like very imaginative. I mean, they have all the classic like Fulgore and is it Riptide or Ripcord? And then TJ Combo and like Orchid and like all the classic characters, but they also added like there was Casado, I think was a new character, and Hiraga, or I don't know. There's like a new character. There's like a whole bunch of new characters, and they're really well done. The one that's really awesome is like this girl who is trying to save her family in a fire in a Japanese village, and the fire burned her family down, and she wound up dying in the fire too. And now she haunts like that village or those woods, and she's one of the characters, and she's basically like one of those like, man, there's what was that horrible? There's those Japanese like horror movies where they have the girls who are all like
The Grudge.
big eyes. Yes, The Grudge. She looks like a character from one of the ghosts from The Grudge, and she's just really super spooky and awesome. And she's just like, she's got a whole bunch of moves where she can like disappear into the ground and then pop up over somewhere else, and it's really well done. I'm impressed.
I don't know.
All right.
Killer Instinct was one of those games that was cool, but I was never too pleased with the aesthetics of it. I was more of a King of Fighters, Street Fighter kind of guy. And then I wouldn't even count Mortal Kombat in any of that because I couldn't take it seriously as a fighting game.
Absolutely. Yeah, King of Fighters is probably the best of all my favorite series of all time. I mean, the Saturn games, the Neo Geo games, all those were so well done. But man, yeah, it is like a whole different genre. I've been knowing they're all fighting games, but man, they play so different. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Play different, look different, everything. It's crazy. All right, Mr. Nullity. I know we're gonna go to your favorite. We're gonna go to your favorite topic now, and that is MMORPGs.
Oh, that's not my favorite topic. I thought you were getting ready to go back to that whole, torture porn. MMOs. Yeah, I'm actually pretty fond of MMOs. Troll Bane. No, MMOs are pretty cool. I haven't played them ever since I became a dad, really. Takes a lot of time doing the whole parenting thing, whereas normally I'd work my fishing skill up to 500 and compete in, the Orgrimmar, whatever the hell tournament. Now it's, just chase the kids around, keep them from killing each other. But yeah, there's a lot of good MMOs out there, and I really look forward to the day I can play them with my kids and start enjoying that again. It's kind of an extension of the classic JRPG, at least for me.
Right, they can't hear me.
Grind, little bit of story, and throw in a social element.
Yeah, they can't hear me.
Perfect
You guys enjoying this? The
recipe for an inclusive
Gamehuggers
person
podcast? Sorry, I can't directly.
Wants to have some interaction socially.
I can't directly
What
address
would be
you.
what would be a game that you used to?
I'm
play,
trying to include your questions if I can.
or a game that you'd like to get back into.
Well, I used to play WoW, World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
I haven't wowed in close to 5 years. I don't think I'd ever get back into it because they, from what I hear, have kind of dumbed down the interface. It's become... Oh man, did I say something? But I don't know. Elite Frontier, a massive space exploration universe. I think that sounds pretty entertaining. There's some others. Neverwinter, I dabbled with a little bit. The whole D&D world.
Yep.
There's a lot of good out there, at least last time I checked into it, but I'm probably not the most qualified here to talk about the subject.
Okay. Saru Maru, you play any MMOs?
I Much like Null, I didn't really play a whole lot of MMOs. I played one MMO called Yogurting, and it's the only one I ever got into. So, and that was like a school life anime MMO thing.
I am disappointed. So none of you guys have played Fantasy Star Online?
Oh, wait. I did play a Blue Burst quite a bit.
That's an MMO, dude.
Yes. I completely forgot about Blue Burst. I did do a little bit of that. I love that there was a Burning Ranger stage in it too. Did you play that?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
man.
Yep.
And then the music came on, I was like, oh, dope!
Yeah, the new private servers, I play on Ultima, and they have and I still play. I play probably, well, gosh, when we first got into it in like October and November of last year, I put in about 20 hours in the span of 2 months. It was crazy. Like I had never played that much of anything in a long time. But since then, I probably put in about an hour or two a month, just gaming on Phantasy Star Online Blueburst. But one of the smaller servers, and it's free, is called Ultima, and they do specials like all the time. They'll do a Saturday night special where you can go through a Sonic Adventure level with all the Sonic music, and then there's Burning Rangers one, and then there's a Knights one that takes place. It's amazing. It takes place on a beach, and you're just kind of storming the beach, killing all these monsters, and it's nighttime, and it's got stars in the sky, and you'll see a falling star every once in a while, and it's just the Knights music playing the whole time, and it's like, oh man, this is amazing. It's so cool. But yeah, I love PSO. PSO is so wonderful. It's just amazing. I love it.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Probably the only MMO I enjoyed, other than Yogurting.
Yeah, Phantasy Star Online was one that I played a lot. Neverwinter came out on the Xbox One last year, so I've got a guy on it, and I played a little bit with Zach Spears. Maybe you guys know him or not know him. He's a guy on the Facebook group. I think he runs like one of the TurboGrafx Facebook groups. Not Cyril's, but the other one. And then Maple Story, because it was like a Maple Story is like a Monster World MMORPG. At least I always thought the characters look like those Wonder Boy and Monster World games to me. So sort of a lot like it, man. Come on.
Kinda.
Sort of. You're wrong, but
I'll give it to you.
Thanks, buddy. Dan, do you want to comment on MMOs?
All right, I'll do a short. I'll say a quick list here, so that way I don't talk too long, because I'll go for hours.
List.
Oh my.
Oh my.
But yeah, basically the list is the first MMO I ever played is EverQuest. Basically, that brought me into MMOs. I was a young kid at the time, so I didn't quite understand it too much. But it taught me how to type and shit. Made me learn a lot more than I did already. Then I broke into Final Fantasy XI, and I broke into World of Warcraft for like 5 minutes. I cried, and I stopped playing after that. Nothing against the game; it's a good game. It's just I don't play it because I know better. Because I'll fucking never stop playing it. I'm being dead serious too. Like you'll never see me right now if I was playing that game. Basically, I've been playing games like Final Fantasy XIV, game I was just talking about earlier, The Secret World, which is more adventure game-ish than an actual MMO, even though technically it's weird to explain. But basically, been playing shit like that, and then Blade and Soul. As far as MMOs, the negative side, I gotta say the only thing I dislike about any MMO is a community, like a bad community, like ones that are just like toxic.
Oh yeah.
Like people who like, I'm not talking about like gold farmers or whatever. Those people didn't make money at the end of the day. I just ignore those. But I'm talking about people who come into a chat and they just like are constantly jerks to everybody. Like they're not necessarily doing it where they're probably mentally or intentionally, but they're just, your opinion sucks. And then the person's like, why? Because my sword is humongous. Why is your sword humongous? Because I worked my ass off in this game for my humongous, big, flopping sword. And so the person who's sitting there looking at the screen was like, well, I just simply asked for help. Why don't you Google it? It's like, why don't you fucking, if you took that much time to answer the person to be negative, you could just give them the answer right then and there. One person for one person. That's how I see it. But, you know, stuff like that annoys the hell out of me in MMOs is the negativity, like the toxic people who are in these things. Other than that, you know, fun experiences, stuff such as Blue Burst, fantastic games. It's just that one aspect. Other people, that's it. The games are not the problem. Yeah. Oh my. That selfless promotion put it over my body.
I could take advantage of the quiet time. But yeah, there's a lot of assholes in MMOs. I agree with you there, Dan. Did anyone ever play like the precursor to MMOs, BBSs? You know, like
ZZT and all that.
Like Gemstone?
Legend of the Red Dragon? No?
Yeah.
Trade Wars? Yeah, lots of good stuff. Man, memories. What happened to games? Now it's just assholes, you know, cussing each other out online. Used to be we had to type our insults.
In League of Legends. Like, what the hell happened to this generation?
Yeah, right. I think that when you have a game that has very, very, very obvious goals and very obvious like gameplay elements to it that make it an actual video game, that's cool. If it's an online community that you're playing along with, that's cool. But when it's just a game that wants to get you to suck you in and just grind levels forever and ever and ever, on top of being a community full of idiots, like, that's just a glorified graphical interface to an AOL chat room. Like, it's junk. Like, I hate that so much, and I don't know. As a whole, I like to kind of rag on MMOs, but I can't too much because I still play Phantasy Star Online. It's a lot of fun, but man, I don't know. It's sort of a genre of video games, like, you know, shoot 'em ups, fighting games, MMOs, but at the same time, it's sort of separate. Like you could almost say MMOs aren't even really video games. They're like this whole different idea, this whole different style of games where you're not just playing them to beat them, and then, you know, what nowadays where people trade them into GameStop or they just put them on the shelf or else sell them to friends or give them away or whatever. It's like you got to keep playing them forever and ever, and if you give up on it, you're looked at like a quitter or something. It's like, what the hell, guys?
Yeah, that part I can agree with for sure. I mean, as far as social gaming, it's kind of the same thing.
Sorry, I think you're muted, by the way. I don't know if you've been trying to talk, but you're muted.
Oh shit, he is.
Maru is muted. Oh, there you go.
I don't know.
Anyway, how about a couple classic RPG makers that are still alive and kicking? And I'm talking about Square Enix and Falcom. Why are they awesome, or why do they suck?
Well, Falcom made East, so that's why they're awesome. That's really all that needs to be said.
That is mostly true. I think that some of the localization for the East games and Falcom's work with like the Legend of Heroes games is done by a company named Exceed. And I wouldn't say they're on like shady levels where like PCE Works is, but they've done some interestingly weird things with taking other people's work and using their translations and putting it in their games.
I can't hear the word exceed without hearing douchebag, cockflasher. I mean, that's
I know.
Whenever I hear exceed,
that happened on the Neo Geo forums, didn't it? Where he was like flashing his wiener on Neo Geo. I
don't know, but there's some drama going on with that. And if you do want to know more information, and I don't know the whole story, I don't even know if we have time to talk about it. But if you want more information about what Exceed has done that maybe could be less than okay with the gaming community, you can check out facebook.com/boycott Exceed. But Square, in my opinion, has sucked for a long, long time. They haven't done anything interesting, in my opinion, for quite a while. I think As far as when you think of Square, you think of the Final Fantasy series. When I think of Enix, I think of Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, and then ActRaiser and all these other games. And when Square and Enix merged together, they kind of took all of Enix's assets and just set them off to the side and said, we'll get to them later. We'll get to them later. The only game series other than Dragon Quest, right?
Well, Valkyrie Profile too.
That's true.
Yeah, because well, actually, that was done by Tri-Ace, but it was put out by Square Enix. The second game was put out by Square Enix after the merger with Enix. I wish there were more of those games, actually. That game was really good.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't that a PlayStation... Was that a PlayStation 1 game?
Yeah, PS1 first, and then it went to PSP with a bunch of added shit, and then
That's right.
Valkyrie Profile Still Maria came out on the PS2. That was also really good. There needs to be more of it. Tri-Ace needs to get their shit together. Make more.
Yeah, they do. Make more magical chases. Isn't that the company that did that? Did we talk about this last week?
No,
Tri-Ace.
actually, Tri-Ace is an independent company that came along after Magical Chase. That was made by a company called... It was developed by Quest, and it was sold by a company called Palcom.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Palcom is the PAL version of Palcom. Is that correct?
What?
What?
Palcom is the PAL European division of Palcom.
Palcom? That was just the name of the company that was distributing the Magical Chase and PC Engine. It was they were just a Japanese distributor at the time.
Okay. I thought there was a relation with Palcom.
I think there is another company, a European company called Palcom with 2 N's, I believe.
I know we kind of talked about gore and violence in games a little bit, but are there any other opinions on gore and violence in video games? Like, is it awesome? Does it suck? Any other comments?
I think it depends on how it's being used. I think we talked about, what was it, Zach, that had the really violent intro? And
Yeah,
I think for
Zach
that...
3.
Right. I think for that effect to portray like how evil these people really were, that violence had to be necessary for that type of thing. But like gratuitous violence, like you have Mortal Kombat, and it's like it's a little crazy and over the top, and it's just violent just to be violent, not necessarily because the violence tells the story.
Right.
Yeah, I really don't like violence in video games to an extreme point, but I mean I don't really like violent films. That's just not my thing. I mostly play like chibi versions of Famicom games, so. But I mean, I liked Mortal Kombat when it originally came out. But give me a choice to play like a cute 'em up version of Mortal Kombat, and I would be playing that.
Are there any violent pinball machines? You're a pinner, right?
Yeah. I don't know. There's like sexual like things going on in pinball games, but
I see the attraction then.
Yeah. But no violent real ones that I know of. Well, there's Freddy, but I mean it's just based on a violent film.
Sure. That's funny that you mentioned Zach 3, Saru, because that's actually like I watched the intro to that game, and it actually was a huge turnoff for me. I was interested in playing it because it's got a lot of elements in it that are similar to the East games. I know Zach 1 and 2 was very much inspired by East Book 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But Zach 3's intro, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to play this game because I don't want to see more of this. I can only imagine when you're 15 hours into it how you're going to fight this boss or see some kind of gory scene. I'm like, I don't need to see it. It's uncomfortable. It's just like seeing people being ripped to pieces, even if they're tiny little itty bitty little sprites on the screen. I didn't like it.
That wasn't the issue. It was the shitty gameplay that I couldn't get into. But when I first popped it in for the first time, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I started playing the game, and it seemed interesting, but then the gameplay was just kind of... So I was like, probably won't play any more of this.
Yeah.
It is pretty violent, though.
Dan Van Dam, what are some of your favorite and least favorite game night snacks?
Well, sometimes when I'm sitting by a roasting fire, like to take my shirt off and bust out some peanuts.
Ooh, peanuts. I like peanuts.
Peanuts. Give me some peanuts. I love some peanuts.
I was gonna say that, but I tried to filter myself.
Salty peanuts.
Okay, fuck it. Let me pull the cork. Okay, so a good throbbing cock by the campfire. No, but see, I was trying to keep it as PG as possible. I was trying to take the violence out of it, but
That's not going to work,
some
man.
Brokeback Mountain tent style over here. Basically,
Can cocks be violent? Well, I suppose they could. Right?
it's like jump rope or something. I don't know. But yeah, night snacks. I usually like things that are like savory. So I like beef jerky, potato chips, shit like that, like peanuts or penis. Penis is salty and good too, but you gotta sometimes you gotta consolidate how much you intake. If you take in too much, you're gonna go to the hospital. I gotta lay that out there. But
You can you can really savor that. Yeah.
Yeah, just savor it. Just good flavor, good compound. It keeps really well. I gotta drop the subject about penis. I have a very bad imagination. It's not working for me. Snacks I do not like. I already am. That's the problem. Snacks I do not like is beets. Like, I don't know. Some people sit there at night and eat beets. Like, I sit there and I think about that and I cry in my head. They sit there and eat beets. Straight up
pickled beets.
Pickled beets. Straight up beets. They
What
just
people?
sit there. These people.
Who are these people that talk about beats?
Any random people. Anything I say now is possible. There could be aliens for fuck's sake. They could be out there eating beets right now, and I cannot be lying, nor could you. There could be like another version of Jared from Subway who's not a pedophile out there somewhere. That's how crazy it is. So it's like, holy shit. But no.
The thing about like beets or pickled beets is that it's a very messy meal, so I don't know why anybody would want to be playing games or board games, video games, whatever, sitting at a table or sitting on a couch and get a jar or a plate of pickled beets. That's really strange. That'd probably be one of my least favorite midnight snacks for gaming.
Yeah, like you just pop open a can of it, just like just snacking it down with their fingertips. You're just like, like a potato chips. Like, what the fuck is going on over there? They'll be calling up their friends. Hey, bro, what's up? What you playing? Playing Call of Duty, eating some beets right now, bro. I'm so wrecked right now, bro. It's like, what the hell, bro? You hear the phone click really slowly.
What about you, Ollie Nanamoose?
I eat stuff from the dollar store. It's great. Cheap,
They have
not
really good snacks sometimes.
knockoff animal crackers are good. That have like the thinnest layer of coating that they can, like frosting they can have like legally. Those are good.
They're like missing limbs and heads.
Yeah, really. I like almonds a lot for late night gaming. I like mostly things that don't get my like fingers dirty because I have a friend that comes over here and he eats Cheetos. And it's like
that's the worst.
Playing game
That's
and
the
eating
worst.
Cheetos, and he's like licking his fingers and he's wiping his hands.
Yep.
But they're so damn good. Have you had those Cheetos? The jalapeno ones, jalapeno cheddar Cheetos. They're crunchy ones. They're freaking amazing.
You had me at Cheetos.
Yeah, they're addicting. Had you for or against?
Oh, for, but not a game night, but just in general, Cheetos, man.
I like whiskey. Whiskey's a good snack. Yeah. Popcorn. I do a lot of popcorn.
I like popcorn. Popcorn's good.
Good shit.
I think good shit. Speaking of shit, I think some of the snacks that I have found over the years that are really bad, even knowing if I'm craving them, if I can crave them during the day or whatever, but like for whatever reason, late at night, game nights, it just doesn't work. And one of them is like raw veggies, like carrots or broccoli or something like that, like a veggie dip type thing. No, that's a bad idea for the middle of the night for me. That and like a big bowl of cottage cheese. And like I'm from Wisconsin, so like I love cheese.
Your poor wife.
I know, right? But cottage cheese is like this awesome breakfast thing, and sometimes I'll get like cravings for it. But like in the middle of the night, it's like my brain's all off. Is it breakfast time? Is it dinner time? I don't know. I'm gonna go get a big bowl of cottage cheese, and then afterwards, I'm like, I feel disgusting. Like, why am I doing this? That and getting things on your fingers, like you were talking about Cheetos or Doritos or any of those things. Like everybody's like, "Oh, let's go get some bags of chips," and it's like I don't want to be touching greasy things and then touching a controller. That's awful. And thinking of like my controllers, my fucking 30-year-old systems, I'm like, you are not touching my controller. But yeah, I hate getting things on my hands. So my go-to snack for game nights and stuff like that is a bowl of cereal. I love bowls of cereal.
I eat a lot of pickles late night. But not really for game night snacks. We're just I thought we were just talking about like snacks we eat while gaming, not specifically for having people over.
Well, either or doesn't matter to me.
A lot of pickles. Which was best?
I have a lot of people over every Wednesday or Thursday for pinball, to stream pinball, and they always get pizza and like they always have like greasy hands. I go and I wipe the sides of the game so the grease doesn't like stay on there. Nothing's grosser than a greasy flipper. You know what I mean?
True. That's true. That's true, man.
Oh God. So wrong. Somebody just said, okay, one of my viewers says cottage cheese is worse than someone Cheeto finger banging my little Samson. That's disgusting, Adam.
You can get cottage cheese residue on your penis. It could be worse. It could be worse.
I don't know. I think Little Samson's worse.
I don't know. I could just lick it off of Little Samson, but I mean, like, on my penis, I don't know. I can't reach down there.
Well, like my gaming is primarily done in my basement, where my game room is at. So if I do get a bowl of cottage cheese, and I have to eat it and then take the bowl back up to the sink or something. I can't just leave it sit for like an hour while I'm still gaming, and then I'll look over it and just be like, oh, it's starting to dry, it's getting all nasty, and now I feel really gross because there's that bowl of cottage cheese.
It starts to congeal.
I'm never doing it again, so.
Forget cottage cheese. Nobody's mentioned licorice yet. I mean, come on, that's like the ultimate
that's a good
game night snack.
Licorice is good. I forget about licorice. Licorice is like it's like the underdog of snacks.
It is.
Absolutely.
Is it candy?
See, I don't use that for gaming. I use that for bedtime winky face.
Gross.
Bedtime winky face? What the fuck?
Bedtime winky face.
Bedtime winky face. I like it. All right, so what? Now, this last topic that we had, and this will be the final topic of the night. Maybe we'll see. But multiplayer games, and I was thinking this could mean online multiplayer or local, couch multiplayer, whatever you want to call it, having people over or whatever. But I have a hard time thinking of anything sucky about multiplayer games other than some games that don't play very well multiplayer. And I can think of like Shockman, like that Shockman 2 or Shooby Man 2, Shockman. Shooby Man 2, a game that's very, very, very difficult. 2 players. You share a power bar. It's a very difficult game, but still, I enjoy it.
Especially if you're playing someone who sucks. You're like, stop getting hit, you ass.
Yeah.
You get killed.
What are some of your thoughts on multiplayer games?
I'm better than everybody else at video games.
Therefore, I have to play by
you're
myself
pretty good.
all the time.
One game you'll never play me in? Okay, I'm calling you out because I've tried to play you in Twister and you told me no because you told me you were better than me, then you lied because when I started playing it, you get an erection and I got an erection and the match was over because I won.
And I didn't rape.
That escalated.
Anyway.
That escalated.
I have no idea what's going on here.
Is that the rape game?
I like playing multiplayer games, but usually it ends out in frustration. I like playing, like, fighting games are a lot better multiplayer, but, like, I don't know, other games where you're dependent on somebody else, I tend to get frustrated. And my girlfriend always wants to play games together, and...
Play the sausage?
video games together, and she always gets frustrated with me because I'm like very bossy and like telling her to do this and do that. And I feel like in that specific situation, I can't tell her anything without her taking it personal. It's like, I'd rather just not play video games or have
You're
play
like, what are you doing, stupid? And she gets mad. I don't know why she gets
Yeah,
mad.
I know. It's no reason
I
at
don't
all.
understand either. I mean, he's a perfect gentleman. He's like, hey, baby, why don't you move over there, you fucking goddamn piece of goddamn troll? Move! Move! He's just like yelling at her and everything. But, stuff like that.
Somebody said the bearded dude should never play Twister together.
Beard's
It's true.
tangled.
Okay,
It's
noted.
straight.
I'll put
It's
that in my
straight now.
official rule book.
Hey now, neckbeards play the best Twister, all right? Neckbeards play the best Twister.
I got you beat on the neckbeard game.
That is true.
Well, you can have that beard, sir. You can have it. Because my pubic hairs are much longer,
Ew.
and you'll never find
I
out.
thought we were talking about video games.
Let's go back to the multiplayer
Come on, man.
game thing. So here is
there's
a
a great
multiplayer game that I enjoy.
Very
It's
fun.
amazing.
It is a fun game, and you can jump on 5 players, right? Is it 5 players? Yeah, it's 5 players.
5 players.
players.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's like kind of like Gauntlet with like an extra layer, like an RPG element
Yep.
with
Well,
it.
Will you say it's better than Gauntlet?
I
Yes.
liked it better than Gauntlet, but I loved the original Gauntlet. Like when Gauntlet came out, I played the shit out of it. Me and my friends would go play. We'd spend tons of quarters. When the Tengen release came out for Nintendo, I bought it. All our friends were over. It was a lot of fun. But then when this game came out, it was like Gauntlet plus super awesome music and crazy cutscenes. And then this quickly became my favorite multiplayer. I don't even know what you would classify this game as. It's kind of like an action RPG with multiple
Right.
players,
I'd say action RPG.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? How many people
Dungeon
have you played it
Explorer 2
with?
is amazing.
It is.
Saru, how many people have you played it with?
Maximum?
Yeah.
3.
3. I've only
Yeah,
played with
I've-
one other person. I think it'd be really fun for a party. I want to try it out.
Right? Yeah. Like
Well-
just do a 5-player game. That would be awesome.
There's,
How long?
there's a lot of, I'm sorry to jump in, but there's a lot of elements to that game that was so far ahead of the curve on what gaming is or what it even is today. Like that game has a save feature. You can play one player through the entire game and save your game and everything like that. But there's also a way that you can get your password, just like in the original Dungeon Explorer. I've got cat hair like floating all over my face.
I just
can
saw
see
that. I was wondering what that was.
My cat's on the floor. See, I'll pick her up. Look at there she is. She's like,
Oh, Kitty!
Oh, pussy on TV.
Oh, it's so
hey,
cute.
whoa, okay, she's sweet. Look at that. Oh. Anyway, so whenever I
She's
whenever I
sweet.
pet her, then all of a sudden, anyway, Dungeon Explorer 2, you can go to get your password anytime you want in the game. So when you get your password, you can write it down just like in the original Dungeon Explorer, and then say your friend is like playing it as well, and then you guys get together and you start a new game. You put both your passwords in, and you can use your characters that you've been playing separately together to go through the game. You could do that up to 5 different players, and every year at the Midwest Gaming Classic, I want to try to encourage people to write down their passwords or whatever characters they're playing and write down the passwords so
Maybe
we
we
can all
should
get
just-
together.
Yeah, we should just start a game at your
I-
thing. Then
That
and
would
there.
be out of this world. If we could get through the whole game in one weekend, that'd be
That
amazing.
would be awesome. We should do
The
that.
that would be awesome, but the problem is we'd miss the whole convention.
That's true. Well, I plan to spend pretty much the entire time in the turbo room almost, except for like an hour to go explore.
And
But
poop.
Pretty much gonna go and poop. Pooping is important. But
True.
I really want to go to meet people, so I think this should be the game that you play.
That would be awesome. That would be super fun. It's so much fun. I love the cutscenes. I love the music. Man, that game. I really, really did like Dungeon Explorer 1, but it just felt like Gauntlet with some RPG aspects added to it. But Dungeon Explorer 2 is like a super version of it. It's amazing. I love the
Did you ever
cutscenes.
play it on
in
the
that.
Sega CD, Josh?
Yes, I did. That one's a lot more like Gauntlet.
Yeah,
weird.
but it's actually a lot better than PC Engine version for obvious reasons. I mean, it was released on CD Media, and
Wait. Better than Dungeon Explorer 2?
no, but better than the original. So the original Dungeon Explorer got ported to the Sega CD.
Yeah, but it's not really. It's at the end when you beat Dungeon Explorer on the Sega CD, it says thank you for playing, and it says Dungeon Explorer 3.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Mind explosion.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's the only time it's ever mentioned is at the end credits, and that is as if you want confirmation on that, Dan, Dragon Master Dan has also beaten it, and he saw it, and we talked about it, and I was like, that's bullshit because it's nothing like Dungeon Explorer. It doesn't continue any of the storylines, it doesn't do anything with those characters, and it's like,
so
yeah, I know
weird.
it's.
So if
It's
that's
really
number
weird.
3, what is Crystal Beans? Is that
I think
4
Crystal
or
Beans
2.5?
Crystal Beans is like 2.5. It's a retelling of Dungeon Explorer 2. It's actually a good game too. That's a fun game too.
Dungeon Explorer 2 with reverb, right?
Yeah. Hey, Super Nintendo's got a great sound chip. Don't be hating. Don't be hating. Don't be silly.
Hey,
Crystal what?
Crystal Beans. It's
Video-
actually called Dungeon Explorer Crystal Beans. It was a Japanese Dungeon Explorer game for the Super Family. It's been fan translated. It's out in it's reproductions or whatever the ROM is, but it's actually really good. It's just like Dungeon Explorer Dungeon Explorer 2 without the cutscenes, and it's all Super Nintendo music. It's a good game.
Crystal to play it.
You better have a crystal. Your power charge crystal.
Yep.
I've only got one left to give out, by the way. So you guys are really going to have to work hard, to see who earns it at MGC.
down to me and Josh.
Yeah. I'll fight you for it. I want that pretty bad.
I don't,
But
Who has the best chapstick wins.
right? Who gives the best hand job wins.
hey, check it out, yo.
Who
Check
has
it out.
the best game? Yeah.
I have chapstick. Right? Look at that. There's my chapstick. I think I got the upper hand.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
Burt's Bees already is the best chapstick ever.
Oh, you son of a
It kinda
bitch!
is.
Another contender.
Owl! Curse you, Galem!
My lips feel so fucking good right now.
I have no
And
chapstick.
then I
Fold my
believe
cards.
there was that Dungeon Explorer that came out by Hudson for the PSP and the 3D or the regular DS.
That one just looked weird.
Well, it's very boring and generic, and there's just nothing.
Fine.
It's not. It doesn't play like Gauntlet. Doesn't play like any of the Dungeon Explorer games either. I don't know what it plays like, but you'd have to ask Necromancer on how that one is, because I believe he's the only person in the Turbo community to ever even play it all the way through. It's a long ass game, just miserable grinding forever and ever, and I don't think I'll ever try it. I booted it up and I saw the intro and I started to play one of the first dungeons and I'm like, this is nothing at all like Dungeon Explorer. Screw this. Very disappointed.
In the trash.
Into the garbage. Thanks for wasting my time downloading this ISO, you jerks.
How would you have felt if you bought it?
Yeah, awful.
Pissed. Yeah. I heard Brandish
So-
is good on PSP.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a Falcon game, right?
Yes.
Brandish
it
is also for Super Nintendo.
No
It
kidding.
was. I preferred the Super Nintendo one over the PC Engine.
Isn't
one.
that the one where you hit the left and right triggers to turn your position and
Yes.
the whole screen just shifts? It's
Yeah,
really
it was a
it's really weird
very-
to get used to.
It
You're
was
like,
very
whoa.
But the PC Engine version plays the same way. However, the PC Engine does not have that fancy schmancy Mode 7. So
Yeah.
it literally just goes and then instead of turning like nice and smooth, like ooh, it's Mode 7, it's I don't know. It's not.
It's an 8-bit system. It's got.
Oh.
Whoa,
Let's not
we
even
don't
go
say
there.
that.
Hey.
We don't
Hey.
say that. Sorry, Mario.
At its core, it's an 8-bit system.
Wow.
I've never seen
Back
Fatal
in
Fury
the
Special
day.
look that good. I've never seen
No,
Street Fighter.
it just means that it was the little engine that could really. I mean, think about how amazing the PC Engine looks when you think about the fact that it had an 8-bit core processor in it.
Saying that word,
Right.
man.
And then you compare that to the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, and you're like, holy shit, this little system with its tiny processor, is graphically beating the shit out of these other two.
Oh, that 16-bit
consoles.
graphic chip.
It did, yes. It did have a 16-bit GPU.
Yeah.
And actually a faster clock speed than the Super Nintendo, didn't it? I believe.
I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely did. The Super Nintendo actually had the slowest
It
speed
did.
of the three.
TurboGrafx was the MIPS millions of instructions per second champion. What that means in terms of anything practical, who knows? But we won the goddamn benchmark. It's still 16-bit to me, damn it!
Well done, well done.
It's real to me.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Imagine how bad a port of Tempest 2000 would look on the TurboGrafx.
Badass.
Hey, if it would probably be, you know what? Okay, that's
If they use
not
the
good,
arcade
because
card.
It would depend on the developer, honestly, because there's a Hue card of Space Invaders, and I don't know if you guys have played it yet. Or if you have, let me know. But it has two modes. It has the original arcade mode, which is of course the 1978 classic, and then it has like this updated, super hyped up, awesome version of it.
Which is badass.
And it is. It's very badass. And the intro from it is like really kick-ass wireframe looking graphics with zooming back and forth and all kinds of ships flying through and stuff like that. And it looks really, really great.
It's not just that. It's not zooming. It's like pre-rendered to look like it's zooming.
So is Tempest. You could do that with
Tempest is real. Tempest is real line pixel points.
Real 3D.
I think you could do it on the Turbo if you had the right developer. We'll get Arkham on it right away.
I know. I mean, look at Sapphire. Look at what they did with that.
Sapphire is gorgeous.
It is. It's an amazing game. It really
Arizona,
deserves
Koryun.
all the praise that it gets.
Yeah.
The polygons in Sapphire were pre-rendered, but I mean, we have Gunboat and Falcon. I mean, sure, nothing to brag about, but the Turbo could do vector graphics, and I agree with Josh. You get the right brain behind it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason Tempest couldn't be done. Granted, without the polygon fills of the Jaguar and Nuon or Saturn or whatever versions, but you can have a bare bones, wireframe Tempest, and I think it would play just fine.
Mm-hmm. It'd be the next.
Somebody throw $5,000 at a PCFX forum to port Tempest to the Hue card.
Right.
What was that thread? I forgot what it was. It was a CD, dumping a CD game, right?
Oh, there's been a few. There's Dino Force Alpha. There was Josh. Help me here. I've had a few souls to drink.
What was it? Marble Madness.
Marble Madness. Yes.
That would be cool. I'd like to see a PC.
Where the guys like I'll throw $3,000 at it to make this happen. I forgot there was a specific game on the PCFX forum.
Oh, are you talking about shoot?
And then one guy chimed in and said it'd be this amount of money, and everybody dogged him.
PC Coqueron.
That's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
I think so.
Wasn't there actually a PC Coqueron made at some point? It doesn't like
never released. There's
Right.
at least one known prototype owned now by
some French
I
dude.
don't know how you pronounce it. Thighbutt.
Thighbutt? Oh God.
Wow.
Thighbutt. Does he also have Marble Madness? Because there was actually a prototype for Marble Madness that was released on HuCard too. That Tengen was going to release after they did Clax, and then they canceled it. And Thighbutt, I think, got a hold of the Marble Madness HuCard, and he will not let anybody touch it. Sucks.
That's a shame.
Don't worry,
It
I got
is.
my chaps. You guys be touching it.
It really is. Like, at least dump it. You've got the original. It's like,
Yeah, I agree.
There's
It's so weird.
Catastrophe. That's one of the more recent prototypes that's been discussed. Catastrophe. I don't know if it has vector graphics, but I hear it is
It's pretty
full
yeah.
of pussy.
I heard it was gonna have like 6 layers of parallax scrolling too.
6.
Yeah.
I heard that
Hilarious.
Catastrophe is going to be for play at Midwest Gaming Classic too.
Did you say for play or available for play?
There's going to
Yes.
be
Either way.
a lot of whoever has
Doesn't matter.
the most uncomfortable foreplay. But we'll get to later.
On that note,
yeah. Anywho, thank you guys so much. We were on a bit of overtime tonight. Thank you, Danny Van Dam. Thank you, Nelody. Thank you, Ali Nanimus. And thank you, Saru Maru, for being a part of the show this week. You can follow everyone at their designated URLs and Twitters and things. I think Dan Van Dam has Worth Your Universe still. Is that a thing?
No.
Shit. Sorry.
The great Wii crash of, I don't know, fucking yesterday happened, and then the stock went down, and then I had to suck dicks and have chapstick all the time. It was just, and I always woke up in gutters.
The real Agerbon. And then Nellody's got his duofile.com. Auli Nauni Moose has got his Twitcherooski.
you know, people are gonna think that's how you pronounce my name. It's Anonymous.
Yeah.
Like anonymous, Anonymous, Ali Nani Moose. Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You just Google me, you'll find me everywhere.
You can find Auli on the interwebs. And
Auli,
then Saru Maru has his URL underneath his thing too.
I did.
Yeah, facebook.com/Sarumaru official.
Dot.
Official.
It's the most important dot on the internet.
And you can also follow me at _Joshua Turbo, because don't forget that underscore. Why? Because it's the most important underscore in all of Aulinani Moose's internet. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. Thank you for listening. Everybody take it easy. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, dudes. Thanks for joining me for that.